Hey everybody, it's Nate from The Kraemer Life. I am at the edge of our property. This is the east side of our property, and as you can see, this is where the creek enters into our property. We have been doing a lot of work on our fence line to keep our dogs in and other dogs out, other animals out if possible, like coyotes and stuff like that. And this is the last area that we don't have secure yet. So the high tensile electric wire stops here, and from here through the creek, there's nothing preventing the dogs from escaping. So I'm going to be doing a couple things. One, I'm just going to be putting in some poly wire in this area here as a visual deterrent. It's not going to be hot, but it'll keep them. They've been trained to poly wire, and they won't try to test it. And then the real challenge is, how do we keep them from going under the fence at the creek? Because as you can see, the fence is pretty high, and that's because during heavy rains, this area floods a lot. In fact, this entire field that's behind me gets about, probably about 2 feet of standing water, just a lot of water. So here's my plan. A couple years ago, we didn't have a gate to our driveway, and we wanted a way to be able to drive through a gate without having to get out and open it, but keep it electrified as well. And we actually we came across this system here. This is only one of the 2 pieces of the gate, but basically this is meant as a electrified gate. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be installing this on this T-post right here and have it go across the creek. It's not going to be electrified. See, something to that effect. It's not going to be electrified, but it is going to be a visual deterrent for the dogs to hopefully not go through or under the fence through the creek. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and start assembling this. I did some pre-assembly up at the house to make this easier, and as you can see, I also secured this T-post with these corner braces. It's a kit that you can get to make T-posts, a corner kit for fence lines, making that one really strong. So let's get installing, and then let's see how it works. All right, so the first thing I want to do is kind of determine the height at which I want this. I don't want it too high to where the dogs won't, or dogs can go underneath it, but I also don't want it too low to where creek is just going to. So I think I'm going to do it right there. So I'm going to go between. How am I going to mark that? So the one below this. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm essentially going to be pinching these 2. This is. I don't know if this is. I think I may have messed up on my design. Let's see here. No, that's right. This is right. Okay. So I want to go a little higher. And then this one's going to go here, like this. So essentially what I have is 2x4 with some furring strips that'll rest inside the notch of the T-post here, and then I will pinch them together with these screws. Maybe I'll go this way here. Which way does it go? It goes like this. I'm just using these clamps to keep it in place while I screw it in with the screws. now I gotta mount the mounting bracket to the face of this, and it'll go straight over across. Oh. All right, and these little metal things, they just hang down. If you electrify the fence, these metal things become electrified too. Little metal strands. Or sorry, if you electrify this gate, these little metal strands become electrified. Also, same with these yellow stringers here. Okay, so now let's extend it. So there's a 1/2 inch bolt right here. Loosen this guy up, and then this can actually extend pretty far. See, how far can it go? Okay, not as far as I need it to go. Doesn't quite make it all the way across. Shoot. So with that, I'm going to have to install a second one on the other side of the creek. I think I'm going to take this guy out. I'm going to put it, there's holes to put more of these stringers in if you extend it. To tension it so the gate stays straight, you put these bolts into the, you put the bolts into this little housing here, then you can adjust the tension. So that way this spring will bring it back to the neutral position if anything pushes it or moves it. Okay, and just like that, it's in place. So if I want this gate to swing this way more or be neutral position this way more, I tighten this chain using these bolts and nuts. Vice versa if I wanted to go this direction. But right now what it can do is it can move. So if the water comes rushing up high enough, this thing can move, but it'll then swing back into place to neutral. Just like that. So unfortunately I do need to put a second one on that T-post, which means bracing it up so that way they extend, they overlap, because right now the dogs certainly could just walk around and go through there. Now this can be electrified. You can bring your electric fence over, and if you ground it to any of the metal, strip away the paint, you ground it to the metal here, this thing is insulated with these insulators, and this whole thing becomes electrified, including these stringers and these metal stringers here. And so you could electrify this gate over the creek, but if somebody is standing in the water, they're probably not going to get very much of a shock, because I think the water will act as a bit of an insulator. I could be wrong, I'm not going to test that theory, but this could be electrified. So this is how you can put an electric fence over a creek, especially one that has high water at time and a lot of flow, and it'll self-correct and self-adjust. And if also, one more thing you could do, you could put floaters like tennis balls or something at the ends of these things, so that way if the water does get high enough to where it touches this, it won't ground it out and it'll just float on top of the water. But since I'm not electrifying this, I'm just using it as a visual deterrent. I'm not going to put the little floaters at the end of those stringers. So anyway, that is how you install an electric fence, electric gate over a waterway, a creek.